So yesterday, I was really struck by this video we played a little bit of, these NYU kids accusing Chelsea Clinton of inspiring the New Zealand shooter by standing up to Ilhan Omar's anti-Semitism. Let's just play a little clip of that again.
This right here is the result of a massacre stoked by people like you and the words that you put out into the world. And I want you to know that, and I want you to feel that deep inside. 49 people died because of the rhetoric that you put out there. I don't think.
What does "I'm sorry you feel that way" mean? What does that mean?
See, I was really struck by the incredible level of buffoonery and moral arrogance. And I use the word buffoonery instead of stupid. I don't think these are stupid people. I just think they're buffoons because they know nothing, and they know so little they don't even know that they know nothing. They're accusing a woman of having something to do with a shooting on the other end of the world because she opposed anti-Semitism, and they happen to like this Democrat and possibly have some kind of special feeling for Muslims, feeling that they're intersectionally privileged or something like this. And I was really struck with what buffoons they were and how morally arrogant they were to get in this girl's face, to get in Chelsea Clinton's face and say these things to her and accuse her with that tone of as if they had no responsibility for anything and she was deeply responsible for what this lunatic in New Zealand did. It's an amazing level of moral arrogance and stupidity. When I say stupidity, I mean ignorance, buffoonery. And at the same time, I was also struck with how unhappy they were. You know, how can you live a happy life thinking that other people, just because they disagree with you, because they have opinions that you don't share, are somehow have blood on their hands? How can you live with that level of moral arrogance, knowing in your heart of hearts, because we all know in our heart of hearts, that we are not morally superior to anybody. In fact, we're nowhere near what we would like to be or what we should be. And we all know that. And it makes you unhappy when you have that kind of superior attitude and you're screaming at people who are your elders, by the way, and whom you should be respecting right off the get-go, right there. So I was just taken with that. And then last night, I gave a speech at Franciscan University in Steubenville, Ohio. And Noel spoke there earlier, and some of the kids were just recovering from that. But other than that, this is I found it a kind of magical place. It's a beautiful setting on a side of a hill over the Ohio River, and right over the border from West Virginia and from Pennsylvania. Everything is bordered together here. And it's a very conservative school, so it was a friendly audience, which of course was always nice, and devoutly Catholic. And I was just struck with the fact that these kids were kind of the opposite of the kids in the video. I mean, I'm not going to talk about whether they were happy or not, because how do I know? I just met them. But they certainly had poise and intelligence and a view of the world informed by their Catholic teaching and their philosophical teaching, because they all had to take philosophy classes and Aristotle. They had a view of the world that made sense and that held together. And these were men and women both. A lot of times these conservative groups swing very heavily male. This was the opposite. And these were people, just young people of incredible poise, intelligence, worried about facing life, because it's hard to be a young person. You know, it's always, you don't know what's out ahead. But I was just really struck with the, I'm searching for the word. It's not quite serenity, because who's serene at that age? But it's cognizance, it's awareness, because they had a philosophy, a Catholic philosophical Western philosophy that made sense and that helped them make sense of the world, as opposed to these horrible young people, poorly behaved, unhappy, angry young people screaming at their elders and their betters, I suspect in this case. And it was just an amazing difference, an amazing contrast. So